Our next speaker is Aggie Pulfer, and she's from the company Your Career Coach. Now, what she's going to be talking about, it's a bit of a difficult thing for myself included, but for a lot of people, it's LinkedIn. And it's LinkedIn for job seekers and career changers. The do's and don'ts. I'm not even going to start on it because I'm pretty sure I just have all the wrong things in my mind. So I'm going to hand you over to the expert. She's going to speak about it. Then if we have a little bit of time afterwards, we'll have a Q&A. And I hope you enjoy then what Aggie has for us. So let's give her a lovely warm round of applause as our first speaker.
Hello everyone, thank you for coming for my talk. I know it's extremely busy here and I know that you've probably visited lots of employers here and wonder whether you actually need that LinkedIn profile and is it important to have it or is it actually something that you could skip? First and foremost, how many of you already have that LinkedIn profile? You can raise your hands. So who has it? And how many of you got a job offer through LinkedIn? So as you see, not that many. And the question is whether, is it my profile? Do I have everything wrong? Why no one is approaching me? And what is happening? How could I improve? How could I stand out? And there is no one-size-fits-all solution here. I personally know many people who have very lousy LinkedIn profiles, yet they have something in their profile that is very attractive to an employer. And that's why they get contacted, they get job offer, and that's when they feel that they don't need to improve anything. They are very specialized. Quite often those skills that they are having in their profiles are very unique. My partner, for example, he is a fluent German speaker. On a weekly basis, he's getting job offers just because he fluently speaks German. Even the job offers that are absolutely irrelevant to his skill set or to his industry. It's just how desperate recruiters might be when they are looking for someone to fill the position that has that very specific skill set. On the contrary, I really want you, the one thing that you should remember after this talk is this is always about business. LinkedIn is and was created for businesses. It's never anything personal. If you're not getting responses, if you're not getting any interest in your profile, it doesn't mean that you are not good enough, that you are worthless, or that something is wrong with you or with your profile. It just might mean that the skill set that you are currently having is not the one that is being sought for by employers. And if that's the case, and you really want to change the career, you want to focus first on identifying what skills am I missing? What am I missing here? Can I upskill? Or maybe can I rephrase things that I have in my profile in order to actually show that I am relevant to the position or to the industry that I am aiming to get in. A quick agenda. This is very simple talk. It's very hard to tailor this talk to everyone, to make everyone happy and to ensure that you will go home, you will create a new profile, you will put everything perfectly, and in 3 days you will get a job offer, or at least an interview. And to give you really a good overview, why it's so hard to advise on the ideal profile, some statistics. And before that, what the LinkedIn is, it's being named as a social media for professionals in general. But for me, what the LinkedIn really is a search engine. That is what it is. It's a search engine either for recruiters or hiring managers or for businesses that want to sell B2B, so business to business. So those who are actually using LinkedIn professionally, they are using that as a search engine by keywords. And if your profile is not being noticed, it just simply means that the search engine doesn't bring your profile up when someone is typing in specific keywords. I know it's hard to read, most likely, but to show you, and probably the 575 million users is already outdated, but you need to get a perspective why your profile might not get noticed. I believe that nowadays it's around 600 million users. So as you see, as an individual, you are competing on LinkedIn with a massive amount of people. On the very, very bottom in Europe, we see that Ireland has 1 million users. It's a statistic, more or less, so it means that every fourth or every fifth person is on LinkedIn among our audience or on average. And obviously people who are living in cities, they are more prone to sign up for social media than the ones who live in rural areas. But it doesn't mean that people who live in rural areas are less valuable for the workforce. They are simply not on LinkedIn. And LinkedIn, it's great for marketers. It's great for sales purposes. That's what is actually it is aiming, to create the partnerships between companies in order to transfer services or goods. If you're a job seeker, the service that you are going to provide is about your skills. What are you bringing to the workplace? And that's why it must be very specific. Every single time, and actually every single talk that I'm having here at Jobs Expo, either in Galway or Dublin or in other parts of the countries, I can't actually stress enough how important it is for you to be precise and to be concise on who you are and what you want. And then we see that over 20 million companies are there. So that's great. We have plenty companies to apply for, plenty companies to impress, but most likely you are not going to impress 99.9% of them. So keep this in mind to scale a little bit your expectations in regards to LinkedIn. And the next part of that is that if you post something on LinkedIn, the community trusts that it's true and that it really happened. Sometimes my clients and job seekers, they ask me, can I lie? Can I say that I have a skill that I actually don't have? Can I say that I'm doing something that I actually never done? And I say, in my opinion, you shouldn't do this. You are better to seek for your transferable skills than to claim that you've done something or you can do something that you are unable to do. Because during the first round of interviews, it will be very, very quickly noticeable. If you claim that you can speak German and you actually can't, well, you're not going too far with it. If you claim that you can use some specific programs or tools and then you're being asked a technical question about them, you are not going to actually impress anyone by the lack of knowledge. On average, the statistics are that 90% of recruiters who use LinkedIn. It might be different in Ireland. I believe it's more realistic number. It's around 70%. So is it good to be on LinkedIn? It is, but with realistic expectations. And I also want to insist that there is slightly more men on LinkedIn and women than women, so it matters, and you will see why I'm mentioning that. And finally, the number that I found, how many people actually got an offer and found a job through the LinkedIn is 3.8 million. So we can round it up to 4 million. And when you compare that 4 million with almost 600 million users, you see that the percent of the people who landed jobs successfully with LinkedIn is slightly above 0.5%. So if no one is contacting you, don't be surprised, because it's not that easy to land a job successfully or to change a career successfully with LinkedIn, but it doesn't mean that it's impossible. So some LinkedIn don'ts. I like to start from don'ts because I like to finish positively, so then we see some do's. But don't use caps lock. Generally, it doesn't happen too often that people use caps lock, but I still see this happening. Then don't use blurry or unprofessional pictures, especially if this comes to you ladies. And that's the reason I mentioned previously the audience of male on the LinkedIn, because sometimes the pictures that I come across might not be appropriate for LinkedIn profile. Then try to focus on something that is not specifically about you, but doesn't give wrong impressions and the impressions that you don't want to give people. The next one is not oversharing. I'm not going through the list. It's something that I also have seen, histories or typing in the long resumes. People usually don't have that much time to read all of them. If you want your profile to get noticed, being precise, using the right keywords would be a better solution. With connections, sometimes I get really many questions from people and lots of offers. And I know that if you have been unemployed for a long time, it might seem like a good idea to connect to everyone and then start spamming them and ask him, hey, do you have any job? Hey, remember I'm here. This is not perceived very well, and it really puts off people to the point that they will either block you or remove you from the contact list. I think that everyone got the don'ts. So some of the do's, this is, as I mentioned, many of them, this is self-explanatory. So what should I do? How should I present myself? First and foremost, be professional. This is a network for professional pictures, for something that matters to you, for the causes that you are actually, you care about, and for values that you bring to the workplace. Quite often, recruiters nowadays don't ask for references because it's much easier for a recruiter to go and just Google your name and check your LinkedIn profile, and if your Facebook is not set on private settings, also to check your Facebook. And it gives a great idea who you are. It really does give a great idea what are you up to. So if your Facebook is about how I hate my current job, or LinkedIn is about puppy pictures, everyone likes puppies, everyone likes cats. but that might not be the first impression that you want to give to your potential employer. When I mentioned keywords, if you're a career changer, I know it's very hard to walk away from your current experience, but then remove the experience that you really can't bring with you to the new workplace. Sometimes when I have someone who worked as, let's give an example, as a teacher and would like to move to a new industry, then we need to tailor that new profile to the industry. Does it mean that you shouldn't mention what you've been doing for past 10 years? Absolutely not. You can still mention, but try to tailor that and check what are transferable skills that I can bring and I can highlight in the profile. Then connect mindfully is about pick industries or areas that you really want to work for. Don't connect with everyone everywhere. Just check what companies I could see myself working for, especially in my area, and then send the connection if you feel that this person might be a door opener. I like a nice personalized summaries or about me, but also I understand that people don't have much time on reading them. So how can I present myself in 3-4 sentences that it's giving the person a good idea what I'm standing for? And I love working with people. It's obviously on my LinkedIn profile. And I've been working with lots of people all my life. And so probably you, because we are here at this event when we meet even more wonderful people. And it's great to see so many different faces. But would that land me a job? Without other skills? Probably not. This being said, there are some professions or some specializations that it's enough to list the set of the technical tools that you are familiar with and without any actual work. As I mentioned, if you are very unique, if you are really standing out, then you are going to be contacted. If there is nothing in your profile that wouldn't be different from 6 million other profiles, you might start whether I should look for something more specialized or maybe something to enhance my offering. Landing a job with LinkedIn, I've only managed to do that successfully once with my client, but it was after a few good months of the proper career coaching and research and background and matching his personality to the right workplace. Being broad, we feel often that it's great to be broad, I can do anything, but if you can do anything, people will not offer you or will not connect with you. So try to keep it nice, precise, concise, and think whether would you hire that person yourself for that particular work or job. And now it's time for Q&A.
This is where I come in and run around with the microphone. I was curious to see that you said 0.5% of people get a job on LinkedIn. Are people looking to make their hires through LinkedIn then?
In theory they do, but to be honest with you, in 90% of the cases, the hiring decisions are based on the company internal resources and whether they know already someone who has that skill or they know someone who might know someone that has that skill. So internal recommendations are much more welcomed than we would like to believe through the social media or how it's being presented to us.
Does anyone have any questions that they'd like to? Here's a lady. I'm coming over to you with the microphone. This is your big moment. No pressure, no pressure. How are you?
Someone was telling me about your connections on LinkedIn, that the magic number is 500. The magic number of connections is supposedly 500 before somebody would even really consider contacting you about a job. Is that true, or is that something that's been made up and has gone through the rumour mill?
So is it true that at least you have to have at least 500 connections before anyone will even look at you on LinkedIn? That was it, isn't it?
That's not true. The person who we actually managed successfully to get a job through the LinkedIn, he had only 150 connections. So
is there anything to be said for being very choosy, very picky who you connect with? I connect with everyone on LinkedIn. Do you need to be choosy?
You need to be choosy.
Oh dear.
You really want to ensure that who you present yourself to and who you're actually aiming to connect with is a person who is going to network with you if you are a job seeker.
Okay.
If you already have a job that you love, like myself, you can connect with everyone.
That's my excuse then. I'm going to connect with everyone.
So it really depends what you expect. If you want to use it as a tool, as a search engine to help you to land a job, you really want to focus because your time and your energy is precious. And if you are spending time in one way, you think, oh yeah, I can connect with everyone and I can have conversations and maybe they know someone else. It's better to focus on finding that someone else than going through the same introduction conversations and so on, because it might be a massive amount of time, and for many job seekers it's very draining.
Okay. Any last questions then, maybe for Aggie? Is it possible to? I'm kind of comparing it to Facebook. Is it possible to unfriend? Is it possible to unconnect with somebody? It is.
Yes, absolutely.
Would that be considered very rude?
To be
Would
honest,
you notice if you had more than 500 people, though?
that's first and foremost. You would never notice that someone, removed you from the connection on LinkedIn. But also, if you want this to be professional and you feel that the pictures that you are seeing on the content that you are seeing on the internet is not really staying with you very well, just remove that person. There is no point to keep the connections.
Okay.
I remember once I've seen a person who was posting really vulgar things, so it's like, I'm not going to stay and see that on my newsfeed all day because there is no point.
Okay, great. Well, look, Aggie, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Are you exhibiting here today as well?
I'm serving at the career clinic, so if you would
the
like to
career
talk to me, please.
Okay,
come
so
and say
ladies and
hi.
gentlemen, can we give Aggie Pulver a lovely round of applause today? Thank you so much for that.